What's happening? This is Christian from Tiny House Expedition here again at the DC, Virginia Tiny House Festival. So we are still walking around doing some live videos. Hopefully you're also watching some of the live videos that are coming from the Midwest and the California Tiny House events. So they are a lot of fun. They look great. Some really good tiny houses out there. And we're here going to do some walking around here a little later. But first we're actually going to go over to the speaker's tent over here and see a keynote speech from Jenna of Tiny House Giant Journey. So, well, let me go ahead and turn this thing around. This way.
Want me to answer that and then you'll give me the second question? Okay. So how did I save up to build a tiny house? You'd be surprised what your materials are worth, or your belongings are worth when you sell them. That was one of the way I saved up. I sold my car. My boyfriend sold his. He had a car and a motorcycle. So those three together helped us save some money. We had a little bit in savings as well that went towards the tiny house. We never used a credit card. I would recommend that. We didn't get a loan because you couldn't at the time. Maybe you can now, but at the time nobody knew what a tiny house was, so no one was going to give me a loan. And then just selling off our belongings and being smart about it, what things are worth stuff. TVs, couches, trying to get the most you can and saving it and putting it back into the house. Also doing things over time. So I didn't need to have all the money up front. I needed to have enough to get started and then find ways to make more to put it back into the tiny house. So I didn't quit my job right away. I worked for the first 6 months of that year of building. Asking friends for help is always not money-wise. I'm saying like having them come over and help you build, giving them food or gear, in exchange can help you as well when you're building your tiny house instead of hiring out a lot of things. I know other people, they recommend it because to me, at least for me, it was to get out of debt. So I didn't want to go into more debt in order to build my home. So it was important, and it might mean finding reclaimed materials and compromising on the materials that I'm using for a cheaper price, but I decided to do that instead of going the loan route. To each their own. Like I said, there are different ways to go tiny and everybody's different. But for me, I tried to build it in my budget, and it was helpful that I had somebody else also doing that with me. So we were putting money in together. So my house cost about $30,000 in materials, which is more than the average. Remember I said $23,000 is about the average of materials. That's because some of the stuff in my house is green energy stuff like solar and the Kimberly wood stove. I also recommend trying to get sponsors. I got sponsors for lots. So even though I say my house was $30,000, I didn't actually pay that because that's including the sponsored materials price that I got for free or in exchange for something. I had a blog. If you can offer a service, you have a rolling billboard when you have a tiny house. So you could reach out to these places and say, I will come to your event and show off your product. I went to a couple events in Canada at their Lowe's. It's called Kent Supply Stores. They had sponsored my roof, the entire roof of my house. So I said, in exchange, I will come up and I will show the house off. I parked in front of the Kent Supply Stores for weekends, just 2 weekends I did that. Went from one to another to come and see the house, and also someone was there representing the roof to try to sell the product. So for them, it was like a cool rolling billboard, and every time somebody asked me about my roof, which is actually pretty often because it's pretty unique, I of course tell them about my sponsor. So that's a way that you can make your tiny house a little bit cheaper. Sorry for the long answers, I feel like. Okay, and you had another? Yeah. The tiny house. The winter time, I always have to prepare for winter it's like an RV in that way, insert that's permanent in my tiny house. I don't know if you can see it in the previous photo. Yeah, in that photo of me, you can kind of see the skirt I made out of foam and lattice. So there's not a lot of maintenance. I had to change some tires when I was, traveling around and fill up the tires, and honestly, it's been really low maintenance. Cleaning, I have to clean it often because it's 10 minutes to clean, but it takes 5 minutes to get dirty. So I feel like I'm in this constant cycle, where if you live in a tiny house, in order to keep it as clean as I like, at least. Yeah, the tiny house community that I'm parked in is a RV park that is about. Yeah. So the question is about how my house village, they have like pods, I want to say, and then the rest is like RVs and there's tents, and that is tiny houses is where I live. And how did I get my popularity and the blog and them seeing me on YouTube back then? So I have been teaching people how to build a tiny house. So they were tumbleweeds. So that helped. I knew about that. Those exact talk in general about living in a tiny house and traveling with people who had questions, because people were starting to overwhelm. I didn't have to negotiate that because they reached out to me. So I didn't negotiate it. How do we do this? And I go, if you just let me park there for free, I'll do it. The thing is I didn't mind because I only do it for 2 or 3 hours a month. And now we don't even do it and ask me. Just like talking to my neighbors. And for the Airbnb, they handle everything and they take a percentage of my. I promote it because I want it to do well. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you get?
The prices. They decide all that. Necessarily.
What they charge.
A year, it's like $169 a night, or even more for their bigger tiny houses. Yeah, it's cheaper than hotels in summer, and the quirkiness, and it's a beautiful area. You're biking and hiking in the summer, and there's lots to do in the area. People go there for vacation. Yeah, in the little communal area. So, yeah. I made it that way so I can be flexible with parking. So it has tanks for water, and I have a composting toilet. I had solar. I've actually gotten rid of the solar now because I've been at Mount Hood for 2 years, and so I got rid of that. I've just been plugged in and it was just sitting. So yeah. But so right now I'm on grid. But if I was to park on somebody's property like I used to do when I was traveling around, I would use my tanks and be off grid with the solar. Yeah. Yeah.
So in Mount Hood, there's rentals, properties.
Yeah.
And this is part of the tumbleweed kind of model of building these parks out.
Tumbleweed in Mount Hood Village, they're not really related anymore. That the Mount Hood Village bought the houses from Tumbleweed, so they don't make any money off of, like, Tumbleweed's not making money off the rent. On their website, I believe Tumbleweed does. I don't work for Tumbleweed, by the way, so I'm not exactly sure what they're doing or what their financial thing is with everything. But I don't believe that they make any money off of the rentals there, and I know it's listed on their website, but I think they just do that to prove that that's something you can do. Buy from us, If you have a campground, buy these tiny houses, yeah. All right. Any other questions? I have no idea what time it is or if I've run over. I'm assuming. I still have 20 minutes. I went really fast through that presentation, I guess. Any other questions? Yeah. Okay. In regard to my house, what changes have I made and what changes would I like to make? Changes I've made is I made that downstairs couch into a sleeping. I've added little things, so it's hard to I added a railing to my loft to be a little bit more safe for renters. Otherwise, I haven't changed a whole lot except for decorations and things like that. Oh, I added a bathroom door for renters. I just used to use a curtain. I didn't think renters would like that very much. So, yeah, changes I'd like to make, or things I wish I would have done differently, I suppose. In my house, the door is on the driver's side. I wish I would have flip-flopped that and had it on the passenger side, because when I was traveling around with I made the mistake. I didn't realize that that's the way campgrounds were. And actually, I built off of tumbleweed plans. I called them afterwards. I said, "You guys should really flip on the other side, on the passenger side." Yeah.
What do you do with your like personal belongings when somebody rents out your house?
Yeah. So I have that shed as well, and I'm there like half time now. You know, back and forth when it's rented and when it's not.
So all right, everybody, trying to get this back to me. What's happening? So that's a little excerpt from Jenna's talk. She had actually finished up, was answering a lot of really good questions that people had. So it's she's so awesome and so approachable. So anytime you see her, if you see her walking around the festival, you should go up and ask the questions that you want. So she's a really nice lady. So that's it for right now from the DC, Virginia Tiny House Festival. So if you're here, welcome. Come see our house. We are parked right out here. And I hope everybody's having a good day. So we'll see you at the next broadcast. All right? Have a good one.